30 seconds.
Yes, sir.
Four, three, two, live.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Keeping It Real with Leisha. I am your host, Leisha. Today, we're going to continue our conversation of passion, domestic violence. This is October, Domestic Violence Month, and I do domestic violence all year long. I don't wait till just October, but this is Domestic Violence Month. This is the month that they've dedicated to domestic violence, and domestic violence has so many entities. So we're going to talk about today domestic violence and teen dating and young adult dating. So we're going to talk about domestic violence and teens. So my special guest from last week, Michelle, came back to be with me on today. Thank you for joining me, Michelle.
Thank you for having me,
Okay,
Leisha.
no problem. And we're going to be Facebooking live from both phones today. So if you have her Facebook or mine, y'all join in and share. Please click and share. Don't be selfish. Me and Michelle are givers. So we want you guys to be givers for today and give. So I'm going to skip all the formalities and we're going to get right into what we're talking about today. First, I have to, first of all, give honor to God. And this is a day that He has made, and in it we shall rejoice and be glad. It is my birthday, everybody. And
Happy birthday,
thank you, sir. I had taken the day off the air. I wasn't going to do anything on today but sit back and watch Ayana, as I told everybody. But me and Michelle talked after last week, and I said, oh no, you have to come back again, because we have to continue this, because families are more important than you think. Families are valued. Families are, we have stock in our families, and we have to realize how valuable our families are. And if we don't start to teach our teens how to date correctly, how to properly date, how to properly choose a date, not a mate, because you're a teenager, so properly choose a date and choose an age, parents, where your children are able to date, not just 15, 14, old girl gone about your business, old boy gone. No, it's not that. You know your child's mentality. Pay attention to your child's mentality and choose an age that you feel that they'll be mature enough to experience dating. But let me tell you what my mama did. She said, okay, you can date when you're 16. I said, okay, cool. Every birthday she came when I was getting ready to go on a date. She said, nope, 16 and a half. Nope, 17. She changed it to 17 and a half before I could go on a date. And my first date, I had to take my brother with me. So that was funny. But she understood my mentality at 17. I had no idea what dating was. My sister's like almost 20 years older than me. So she was married by the time I was, 6 years old or so. She was already married. So I didn't get a model on how dating should be. My mother was older, she was married, so I never saw anyone date, so I had no idea. So parents, please sit your children down, and they say have that birds and bees conversation with your children, add dating to that conversation, and make sure that you allow your child to get from under your wings at a proper age. And it doesn't matter, and tell your child, look, we're not Johnny's parents, we're not Bobo's parents, we're your parents, and we care about you. So that's the thing that we want to get, the message, the safe message that we want to get to our children. And domestic violence doesn't just apply to girls, it applies to boys as well. So, because I know a lot of men that are 3 times my size that have been abused in relationships, and they did not hit them back, and they are men. So it doesn't matter the gender. All that matters is that you're safe in your love environment. Let's put it that way. And if you want to call in today, you guys, the number is 323-300-8132. That's the studio number, 323-300-8132. If you have any questions for Michelle and myself, and as I did last week, can somebody please put this up on the screen for me? Thank you, guys. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I love you guys too. I'm getting ready to give out 2 phone numbers, and I need you guys to put this up on the screen for me. Let me get my notes. Okay. Mama gonna have to put on her glasses in a minute, y'all. Y'all know how I feel about that, but oh well, whatever. Birthday's today, so I gotta see. Hey! Okay, so Let's put up let's see. Where your numbers at, girl? Domestic violence hotline number. Can somebody please put this up for me? 800-779-7233. That's 800-779-7233. That's the domestic violence hotline number. My next number is the National Suicide Prevention number. We're going to put that number up too. 800-273-8255. 800-273-8255. Because a lot of times when teens get into dating and they don't understand why they're being abused or treated bad, they often turn to suicide. That's one of the results that happens with, and we hate to talk about that, is the suicide too. So, and another thing, you guys, let me tell you this before we get started. I sat yesterday and I watched 2020. They had a segment on, just so happened on yesterday, with teen dating, young adult dating. Well, teens are 18? Are they 18 too?
They're still.
Yeah, to me, you're still a baby, so, you know. So, Ebony, do Auntie a favor. I love you, girl. You know I'm always putting you to work. Put this number up for me. It's the Domestic Violence Hotline. It's 800-799. Oh, I said that wrong at first. 800-799-7233. 800-799-7233. So I'm glad y'all didn't put that up. Thank you, Ebony. Can you do that for TT? And the next one is National Suicide Prevention. 800. Thank you, baby. Suicide Prevention. 800-273-8255. 800-273-8255. Okay, I love you, Munchkin. So, we're going to put those numbers up. And I watched 2020 on yesterday, and it just so happened to had a show on, Michelle, about teen dating and college. Now, that's when we let our children go. And 18, oh, my baby's in college. See, we wear that medal of our child being in college. Or are they prepared to go to college? This young lady went to college at 18. She met this young man. He was a star athlete on the hockey team. And she was whatever she did, I don't know. But they got into this dating relationship. And violence erupted in the relationship. She kept it a secret and put it underneath the rug. And he had been practicing violence on the ladies prior to her. Mm-hmm. And, you know, testing the waters. So you know how they do you. They test the waters. So, but they always get to this one victim that they decide, you're going to be the person that I fully unload my domestic violence capabilities upon. And this young lady was that young lady. Mm-hmm. So long story short, they got into an altercation about him cheating and talking to other girls. Look, ladies, when they're 18, when they're 25, when they're 55, when they're 65, if it's in them, it's in them. It's nothing you can do about that. But what you can do is leave and take care of you. So with that said, she stayed in the relationship, and they got into this violent altercation where she initiated the violence, pushing him and hitting him and taunting him. And see, she didn't know anything about triggers. She didn't know anything about his past. And if she did know it, she was totally oblivious, because this is a young man who said, I love you to her. Mm-hmm. So she was a tiny girl, and he was a kind of, athlete guy. So she kept pushing, and as she did it, fire started to light inside of him. He started to trigger, but she had no idea. So he told her, he said, please stop. He asked her. That was her moment to save her own life.
Right.
He said, please stop. And she did not. He even turned away and walked to the door, but the fire was still burning. He walked to the door. She grabbed him back and pulled him back in the room. And that cost her life.
Wow. The
triggers hit. The fire started. He could not stop. He beat her unrecognizable from the face to the neck. So, there's nothing to beat but the head. He beat the child to death because of the simple fact of what had been put inside of him, the fires that he experienced, the triggers. He had no control at that moment of what happened to him. Do I blame him for that? No. And I'll tell you why. He learned it from his daddy. Mm-hmm. His daddy beat his mom. He beat all the children, including him. And he even said his dad shoved the remote control down his throat when he was a little boy.
Wow.
Yeah. So he experienced violence in his home. The seed was sown. The evil plant was growing inside of him, put in from his parents, and he practiced on other girls. But this is the young lady that hit that trigger, and he could not return from it. But after he killed her, he was so remorseful. 4 hours later, he turned himself in. And when he turned himself in, he told the police, I'm not the only one who you need to arrest. You need to go arrest my father. He said, I am now my father.
Wow.
And that just, I'm on the floor bawling, because it's like to see your sons or your daughters, your children, period, copy you. And we know, Michelle, that our children, whatever we taught our children, they take it to the 100th power.
Yes.
They always supersede what we teach them, the good, the bad, or the ugly. Our children will supersede us. So we must always, even if it's been taught, go back if you learn better and do better. So they started this thing called Purple Pinky Foundation. So you guys can Google it. And that's the foundation that her college friends started to bring awareness to domestic violence and young adult dating and teen dating to the college campuses. So, and I sent them an email to get in contact with them so we can do that for our teens as well in the inner city. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
That story is heartbreaking, but it's just so
so
familiar. This happens
daily.
on a regular basis.
Yeah,
like
daily.
On a regular on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And teens, the young adults have been really heavy, in my heart and my spirit lately. And maybe because I have teens and I have young adults.
Yes.
But this is something that needs to be talked about.
Yes,
and like you said, we talk about sex.
Yes, we do.
We you're talking about
Yes,
it. You know, we talk
if you
about
do.
what you should do and not do.
Yeah.
But the violence aspect doesn't come up.
Talked about. Yeah.
It's not getting talked about. And I'm seeing it happen more and more with a lot of the teens.
Yes.
And like I said, my situation started when I was a teen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was, I just think it's something that we have to discuss.
We do.
Because if we're going to prevent it, if we're going to try to help prevent it when it gets older, it has to start here.
Yes, it does.
And a lot of times when you see grown adult women in abusive relationships, they were already abused way back.
It didn't start just when you're 25.
Right. And so addressing the youth, the teenagers, and they need to have these discussions. I wish somebody would have came in and had these talks with me.
Yes.
I wish we would have had seminars or classes, somebody having discussions, because our exposure to domestic violence comes from what we're seeing we're at home.
Yeah.
From friends, from other relationships.
Yes.
So that's our exposure to it.
That's right.
And so it's normal to us.
Learn behavior.
Yeah, and so you're not seeing it as abuse. A lot of times you don't see it as abuse.
No, that's just Uncle Bobo. That's just Auntie Carol. That's just what they do.
That's just what they do.
Not healthy.
Yeah.
That's not healthy.
And so it prepares you to enter into this life.
Yes.
And live something that you're not ready for.
That's right. Now, with that not ready for, when it hits you, it shocks you like somebody threw a cold ice water on your naked body. That's how you feel when you enter into the room with domestic violence. Once it's entered into it's in your life.
Yes, it is something like what you just said about that cold water. It is like that. It's you've been hit by your mama, your daddy, or whatever. Yeah. But when you get hit in this way, it's a whole different thing.
Yes,
a whole
baby.
different
whole
level.
Monster.
And I was looking at some statistics about this while we were preparing for the show, and it says 1 in 3 young people will be in an abusive or unhealthy relationship. Yeah. And it also said that roughly 1.5 million high school boys and girls in the U.S. admitted to being intentionally hit or physically harmed in the last year by someone that they are romantically involved in.
There it is.
And then the last one says females between the age of 16 and 24 are 3 times more likely than the rest of the population to be abused by an intimate partner.
Yep, I got it right here. Yep, and experience that intimate partner violence. So it's not just for our girls. We're reaching out to our boys too.
Yes.
I cannot picture my 2 boys bearing down on a woman with their strength just to get their point across. That's just not feasible for me.
I don't see it a lot of times, and you said it in the story, and this is why we were saying we kind of started this conversation last time when we were saying stay out of their face.
Yes, there you go.
You don't know what they come out
That's
of.
right.
You don't know what he's been exposed to.
That's right.
And this young man, as sad as it is, and I know people are going to say, well, he needed to keep his hands to himself.
He tried.
But like you said, he tried to walk. He tried to go.
He did.
And then you continue to pull him back. You're not ready for what's on the other side of that rage.
You're not.
You know, and he was able to warn her.
Yes.
A lot of them don't even have the strength
Yes,
in them.
they don't.
To even warn
They
you
don't.
to back away.
They don't. They
you
bounce.
know, that comes up in them, and all they know to do is strike.
That's it.
But we're in a culture now that I need to be in your face, and I'm snatching on you, and I'm pulling on you, and you're seeing it with these girls a lot, just really, just in their face, and it's like, don't
Baby,
do
please.
that.
You don't know what you're
Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that. Everybody has their breaking point.
Yes.
And yes, no, this is not no passes.
No, it's not.
For anybody.
No,
it's not a pass for
No.
anybody. But you don't understand the coping skills that they have not gotten.
Right. That's right.
You don't know what's been implanted in them.
Right.
You don't know what they've been exposed to. You don't know what their triggers are.
Yep.
And if you trigger them on the wrong day, you can end up
Baby,
like that lady.
Like this young lady. And see, that's the hard part, Michelle, too, because she learned the trigger at the end of her life. The trigger cost what she can't come back now and say, oh my gosh, I wish I would have listened to him. So ladies, I admonish you, when a man says stop, stop. Don't keep trying to punk him, because I'm telling you, even if the man is 4'2" or 7'2", that man is coming out the box and he's going to handle you, and you don't want that. You don't want to continue to push up on anybody. But we're talking to our girls. Stay out of these men's faces. That's not our place to be in a man's face. Call me old fashioned, call me what you want, but it's not my place to be in a man's face, to punk him and then to go back to my girlfriends. Girl, I was in his face, I was this. You're not a housewife of Atlanta. I'm telling you, when those women are in those men's faces, they got security right there just in case they hit a trigger.
Right. They're all around them. They got them
They
protected.
got 'em right there.
They covered. That's
Right.
all for show.
And it's all for show. But if you do it, we'll be viewing you and not seeing you. And see, we want to stop the viewing. We want to stop the viewing in our families as much as possible. That's what we want to do. We got to stop this. And I had the same statistics you had. And it says, I got another one for college students. Nearly 45% of the dating college students experience violence in some form or fashion. And Michelle, they don't even know what it is.
Exactly.
They don't know how to identify domestic violence. That's why parents, it is our job. When you become a parent, let me say that parenthetically, because I'm a mother of six. I think 6, 7, how many kids it is, 100, whatever, y'all. A mother of 100 children. And when you become a parent, our job as a parent is to nurture that child in every possible way, from utero to your death. That's our job. It never, ever stops. From utero to death, that's our job, to nurture that child. Teach them how to prepare themselves for the world, financially, mentally, physically. Teach them how to prepare to be a woman or a man in a relationship. This is not healthy. Stop saying, don't do what I do what I say. Stop saying what happens at, and I'm going to use my old address because I don't live there anymore, 942, stays at 942. No, that was Big Mama's way of hiding what was going on.
Yes.
Violence breeds on silence. Silence is the food for domestic violence. That's one of the main foods for domestic violence, is your silence. You cannot love that man or love that woman more than you love yourself. Love yourself enough to remove yourself from this unhealthy environment. Let me tell you the lasting effects of domestic violence on on people. We're talking about teens and we're talking about young adults right now. If they start the violence, Michelle, at 14 in a relationship,
Yeah.
you 14, you're still pliable. They say we stop learning at 5 and that's our max. That's not our max. As the man said before, is use both sides of your brain. Let me tell you why. The longer lasting effects of domestic violence on our teens are they will continue to go into, I'll say we, because we're people, will continue to go into violent relationship after violent relationship. It breeds the cycle because of ignorance. And that means just not knowing. Ignorant is not a bad word. It's the non-knowing of a thing. That's what ignorance is. They turn to substance abuse.
Yes.
They turn to eating disorders. I found that out. Either overeating or undereating. It can go either way. They turn to risky sexual behavior.
Become very promiscuous
Very.
because you're looking for that love.
That's right.
Trying to find that love factor.
Mm-hmm.
So, all you know is abuse.
That's right.
So even you start self-abusing.
Yeah, that's it, Michelle. You start self-abusing, and none of this is healthy. And so they end up with STDs or STIs, sexually transmitted diseases or infections. And then the last thing that they do is commit suicide.
They do.
It's alarming rate. Depression. There you go.
I was extremely depressed.
Yes.
Coming to find, I was clinically depressed, and I would go, and they wanted to put me on medication.
Yes,
and I wouldn't
me too.
put on it. But from having babies back to back, and then being in this situation, my depression, I was so depressed, and that you can see why the enemy comes in and you're ready to take your life because it takes you so low.
It does,
and you don't feel like you have an out.
No.
They think that's the only way out. Is what, I'm gonna go ahead and end this.
I'm gonna end this
before they do it to me.
Because we talked about this last week, and Michelle, I want you in a few minutes. Can you tell that part again about last week? Because I got that low, and I asked God to let me die in it. I was too chicken to kill myself. I ain't playing, y'all. It's not funny, but I was really seriously scared, but I wanted to die because I wanted it to end, because I got to that point where I was so confused about me being the loving, kind person that I am. Do I have issues? Yes, I do, because I'm human. But me being the loving, kind person that I am, why is love attached to violence? I didn't understand it.
And that's what happens with a lot of victims. They start to feel as if it's their fault.
I
You
took it personally.
internalize that.
Yeah.
And when we go back to what you were saying about the teens and being in this, a reason a lot of them get into this is because they really don't know what abuse is.
Oh, there you go.
See, they coming out of two sides of the house. Either you come out of a house that hasn't experienced it at all, and so you're oblivious that this even happens.
Yeah.
So when it happens, it's a total shock to your system.
Yes, it is.
Or you're coming out of the other side where you're coming out of a house where this has happened.
Yeah.
You've seen it in some type of way. So you equate this to love.
Yes.
And so a lot of teens, they're in this kind of stuff, and it does not start off with a hit.
No, it doesn't.
That's what everybody needs to understand. Because if you in a relationship and immediately they pop off and hit you, you can kick rocks.
Yeah, kick rocks.
That's easy. That's common sense. I'm out.
Right.
You're going to hit them back. You're going to do all of that stuff.
Right.
But this stuff starts off in a whole different pattern. And I'm seeing it with the kids so regularly. And the things that they need to look for is like the controlling behavior.
Yes. It's not cute, y'all.
It's not.
Oh,
You see
no.
it all over social media. Where you going? Who you going with? You better tell me. They doing all this kind of stuff. And to them, that means you love me. No. If you ain't constantly checking on me, if you ain't all up in my face, if you ain't, trying to run up on me, they think that it's not love. And that's because that's what is being put out there.
That's right.
That out there, and I'm watching videos all the time. Like I said, I got my young adults. And so, they always sharing videos and stuff.
Yes.
And it's always somebody fighting, but it's some relationship thing happening where somebody up in the face, popping off, controlling them, what you doing, where you going, and all this stuff, and they think that kind of stuff is love. So they think love is controlling me, and then they think that being talked to bad They think that's normal.
Yeah, it's not.
You know, they call
It's not.
each other bees and
oh,
all
no.
that kind
That's
of stuff.
so
So
unacceptable.
for your man or for your you know woman to call you that is normal.
It's okay. And it's not normal, guys. These behaviors are not normal. I hear girls on the phone, B such and such, B such and such. Hey, B. No, sweetheart. That is not my name. My daughter should not be called B's. My son should not be called B's. B is not a normal name. I was called that so by my by whatever, you know who you is. I was called that so till I said, you know what, let me perfect the B. I went to the point to get the belt that said B on the front of it. I ain't even lying, y'all. I'm being so real right now. I started to own that.
They try to own it.
And I said, let me find out what a B really does. Oh, I went to the B characteristic. And I was the best B that he kept calling me. I became her. Oh, I was a dog. And then I said, whoa, I'm being what I'm being called. And I said, but my heart wasn't there.
Right.
But the characteristic and the attitudes and the actions followed what I was continuously called. And as I grow in Christ, I learned that when you're called things and things happen, they stick to the core of your soul. And then your mind reminds you. And you go, oh, that's it. Let me go.
Right.
And if my identity is jacked up anyway, because my parents, via ignorance and not in a bad way,
already been called that kind of stuff.
They didn't know how to do
You
that.
was reared in that.
You was
reared in being called dummy.
Yeah.
You was being
Yes.
reared in calling
Yes.
stupid. You
Yes.
was being reared and calling, you know, you ain't no good. And
You ain't
why
no
did
good.
I have you?
You're
and all
just
this
like
kind
your
of stuff.
daddy.
So these kind of
Yes.
words being spoken to you
There it
is
is.
normal for
Yes.
you. And so they accept that, and they don't. They think that this is okay. You know,
Yeah.
they don't. So when somebody is calling them out of their name and telling them you just stupid,
There it is.
You know, I don't. Are you ugly? Are you this and that? To them, it's normal.
okay.
They think that it's okay to
Right.
be called that kind of
Because
stuff.
that's what I know a mother right now who's a mother of mostly daughters. She calls her daughters B's. You B. You be this, you be that. And then she complains about why they're acting the way they're acting. Sweetheart, your words have life.
Yeah.
The life and death is in your mouth. And you're speaking it over your children.
And
So-
if you're the one who's
There it
supposed
is.
to love
Look,
me unconditionally,
yes.
if I'm being talked to by that,
By
how,
you.
that's my standard of love.
That's right.
That's exactly how I
Yes.
think everybody else. So anything else is normal.
Yeah, it's
this
oxymoron.
is what is what love
That's
is.
it. That's it.
And so, and another other thing is, it's not only talking the bad, but it's that emotional abuse is huge, and that's the withholding love.
Yes.
You know, I'm not. You see me. You know, you don't want to talk to them. You know, and
The silent treatment.
You know,
Yes.
we
are good
on
at that silent treatment.
But you know, with teens, everything is so social.
It is.
It's all about the social
is.
interaction.
It is.
You know, connecting socially, being involved socially, and you know, and they'll go to the point to really cut them off.
Yeah.
And have others cut them off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, not respond
That
to
bullying.
them, not talking
Yeah.
to them. I'm not saying nothing bad to you, so you can't say I'm not doing
That's
anything
right.
to you.
That's
I'm
right.
just not talking to
My
you.
actions.
I'm not responding to you.
Yes.
But that's being done in the efforts to control.
It is.
It's done to control
Yeah.
your behavior, to
Yes.
manipulate you into
Yes.
doing what I want you to do.
Yes.
And so the kids, they have to not. I keep calling them the kids, but
Yeah,
the
'cause we
teens,
mothers of
right?
yeah.
You know, you have to be aware of this. If somebody is withholding themselves from
Yeah.
you, and then the only time they want to talk to you or be around you is when you're doing exactly what they want you to do.
That's right.
This is a sign that you need to be looking for, that this situation can be very much, you know, an abusive situation.
That's right. And we gotta
And they
watch
don't
it.
see it as that.
No.
They just think that this person is not talking to them.
Right.
But anytime somebody's behavior is to manipulate your behavior,
go.
then this is an abusive situation.
That's right.
And teens need to know this. We need to start modeling boundaries.
Yes,
You know,
boundaries.
right.
Yes.
And you know, we're, especially black parents, there is no boundaries in our house.
Right.
You do what I say.
Right, and that's it. Yeah.
But you need to still be able to help your child. You need to govern this and
Balance.
show them what does this mean when
Yes.
it comes to other situations.
Yes.
There's people should not be able to control you by manipulating you with their behavior. If they decide they don't want to talk to you and now you can't get up, you know, you depressed, you want to end your life, this is not a relationship
It's
that
not.
you need to be involved in.
It's not.
And that emotional behavior see, you guys got to think again, these are kids, a lot of them are coming out of families who've been rejected.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, I dealt with this, and I come from a situation where I was feeling rejected.
Yes.
I felt like I was not loved.
Yes.
So that's how it started with me. It was the emotional abuse first. You rejected me.
Yes.
So
So,
I'm doing whatever I can
yes.
to try to earn your love.
That's right.
Because to me, love had to be earned.
It did.
And so I had to be better.
Yes.
I had to do more.
Yes.
If I be acted this way or acted this way, this would get me what I ultimately
And
desired,
that's
which
the
was
love.
love from you.
Yes, and see, that's what it is. We all desire to be loved. And I'm going to say this, you guys. Only person that can love you the way you need to be loved is Jesus. I'm going to let you have it today. He loved you so that he died in your place. That is the only person that can fill that love void in your life. And yes, you can have a husband or a wife added to that later on, but Jesus is the ultimate source of love for us. I have to always put it out there. Y'all know I do. So, and like Michelle was saying, with the teens, I looked at the studies that I have. It says a study of 8th and 9th graders find that 25% have been victims of non-sexual dating violence and 8% have been victims of sexual violence. And that comes with the manipulation.
Yes.
If you do what I say,
If
then
you love
I'll
me.
love you.
If
Then
you
I'll
love
love
me.
you.
Yeah.
Love is not conditional. Thank you, Lord. Love is not conditional. Love is unconditional. Well, if you do this, I'll do that. If you do this, that's called straight selfishness. That's called manipulation. That's called just a lie. It's not a love. It's a lie. Let me tell you, I've had a man tell me, I try to curse at you. I try to fight you. I try to beat it into you. You just don't get it. Sir, you don't know how to love.
Right.
And they said, this other guy said, "You're just too dumb to keep hitting." So, but this is manipulation, because even in those bad things that was done to me, I still didn't conform to what they wanted, because I knew that something was wrong.
Right.
I don't have to be a victim to be a winner of your love.
And probably for your abusers, that's how it was modeled for them.
You better say it.
It was modeled
That's
for
it.
them. So they're going after, so they felt like
That's
they
it.
had to
That's it.
they had to be
That's
the
it.
manipulating one.
That's it.
In
And
order
you're
for
right.
you to act right.
That's right.
And see, when you're talking about this, another reason why kids, teens, are able to get into this is because they are masters at hiding stuff.
Ooh.
They hide stuff good. I don't care how good you think
are
you're
a parent.
checking.
Yeah.
They hide stuff
Very well.
so well.
So well.
And so, with them hiding this kind of stuff, you might not can't see that it's going on.
Yes. Because they keep that game face on.
They keep it
Oh,
on.
they keep that game face on.
And they're hiding
Yeah.
it because they for one, they're embarrassed.
Yes.
For two, they don't know how to deal with it.
Right.
They don't want to hurt the person
Yes.
that they feel like they're in love
That's
with.
right. And betray them. Because that's the one thing too. If you betray me, you don't love me. No, that's a lie. Don't even say betray. Let me save my life. Don't be selfish. I mean, you're trying to be non-selfish as the person that's abused. I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to turn my back on him. I don't want to turn my back on her. But turn your back and save your life.
Yes.
It's okay to turn your back on unhealthy relationships. Don't let their manipulation and their lies keep you a prisoner in the violence, because being a prisoner in the violence can end up in two ways. You can end up in the morgue, or you can end up in the hospital. Those are your two choices. Being a prisoner of love. You should not be a prisoner of love. God doesn't keep me a prisoner because he loves me. Love is free. Love real love doesn't hurt. I did a workshop earlier this year entitled "Real Love Doesn't Hurt."
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt.
And the sad thing is that most of us think that
We
it
don't
does.
know that. Yeah.
We
It
think
doesn't.
that it does.
It doesn't.
And so this is setting our babies up.
For
It
failure or
really
death.
setting them up.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, it's two sides of it. And for we talk about the kids who come out of it.
Yeah.
So to see the cycles is, okay, you can kind of expect that to happen because this is how they will be trained.
That's right.
But for the babies who this is not their norm, they're
No.
not seeing this,
Shock.
but they're connecting
Yeah.
with somebody who is.
Yeah.
You know, we this is why these conversations have to happen.
It's very
because if you and it happens a lot in the colleges
Yep.
or in the high schools.
Yes.
And you know, this is their first love.
Yeah.
Their first
Yeah.
love.
Oh,
And
wow.
this person hits them.
Yeah, and it's like,
or it
whoa.
does this stuff to them.
Yeah.
It is destroying them.
It is.
And I've tons of stories off of 2020 and everywhere
Mhm.
about these
Yeah.
kids end up dead.
They do. They do.
A
Especially
lot
from
of
the
these
first
kids
love.
end up dead
Yeah.
because they don't know
Right.
how to deal with it. Sadly enough,
Yeah.
you know, us who have been kind of raised with it,
Mhm.
you kind of learn a
to
little bit of
manipulate around
coping,
it,
you know,
yeah.
mechanisms, how to
Mhm.
balance it out. But these kids have no idea how to deal with this.
No.
And so they get to hide in it, and they don't know what to do,
Yes.
and they start pulling away from everybody.
Yes, that's a
And
sign.
That's a sign.
That's
and
a serious
why
sign, parents.
we want to start telling people what to look for
Yeah.
with these kids.
Yes.
Because somebody has teens, somebody has some young
Yes.
adults that are dating, and you need to know what it is that you need to look for.
Yes.
So you can help your teen get out of this. So you can
Mhm.
help some other teens get out of it.
Yes.
And you need to start looking for that. You need to start seeing, you know, are they withdrawing?
Mm-hmm.
Seeing them withdrawn from things that they love to do.
That's right.
Activities they might have been really, really involved
That's
in,
right.
and all of a sudden they really don't want to do that stuff
Mhm.
anymore. They only want to be around a certain, you know, their boyfriend or their
Yeah.
girlfriend.
Mhm.
Everybody else in their life starts to leave, starts to go away.
Mhm.
You need to. This is not normal.
No, it's not.
And
That isolation.
yes,
Yeah.
we have to be willing to step in, and we have to intervene in this.
Yes. Yes.
And anybody who has a teen that's in the situation, if it's not your teen, but you see it, or if you are a teen and
Yes.
you're in this,
Yes.
you got to know that this is not okay.
No.
Because, like you said, the isolation is what breeds the abuse.
Ooh, yes, it does.
And that's what is part. That's part of what
Yeah.
the abuser does, is to get you by yourself.
Yes.
Because once you're by yourself, that's when you start feeling like you have no outs.
Yes.
Like this is the only person that you have, and then this makes you more vulnerable
That's
and
right.
stuck into
Yes.
this situation.
That's how you feel. And it's not true. And see, if you can get out of it, another part of that is stalking you. They will start to stalk you. And now they have this, what do you call it, that stalking you via internet, stalking you via social media.
Yes.
So that's another thing that we're going to talk about too. I'm going to bring on a special guest and see if she'll come on and talk about domestic violence and social media. Because that's another way, because our kids are so social. Everything goes
Everything is
on
social.
Snapchat, Facebook, all that other stuff that they use, I can't even name it. But they're so social. And like you were saying, they'll use others to block you out. They'll use others to manipulate others to help them in the mental and emotional violence.
Yes.
So the mental and emotional violence is so powerful, because they can have you, if you didn't wear red before you met them, you'll wear red after, because
Yeah.
that's what they tell you. If you wear red, I won't hit you. You know what I mean? Anything that they want you to do, and they'll ease it on you. Baby, I don't like those clothes. Can you change to these over here?
Yeah, I want you to wear this. I want you to do that.
Yeah.
And for the teens, since everything is very social, that they're willing to take, you know, the abuse, because social is so
The pressure.
huge in their world
Yeah.
at this time.
Yeah.
You know, they'll take you doing, you know, talking to them bad, or sexually abusing them, or even hitting them in order to be what they feel as accepted.
That's right. That's all we want to do, is be accepted and be loved. And see, a lot of people will do anything to be accepted and be loved. And that's what leads to these domestic violence is unhealthy. Let me say that again. Just because you saw Bobo do it, just because you saw Pawpaw do it, you might even saw Granny, because some people have a bad granny. You saw Granny do it, you saw Daddy do it, you saw Mama do it. Domestic violence is unhealthy. We see it on the TV, we see it on the internet, even some of these games that the kids are playing. My son used to play Minecraft. Even in those things, violence are in the games.
Violence is in games. You see
It's
that? That was
unhealthy,
that game,
people.
that Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, Grand
my
Theft
God.
Auto. Oh, that's
I
vicious.
hated that.
Yeah.
I don't know if they even play that, but I
Right.
remember back when my kids were little, they had that. You could pick up a prostitute,
Yeah.
do your thing, and
Yeah,
then
you
kill her
can.
after.
Yes, you
but that's
could.
subconsciously planting
Yes.
this stuff in our
Yes.
kids' mind.
Yes, and
the
setting them up.
cartoons now, you know, they cuss.
Yep, girl.
They have sexual activity
All the
going
time
on.
in
They have
cartoons.
all this stuff going on,
In the
but that's subconsciously
It
planted
is.
these thoughts in their
It
mind
is.
to make them think that
This
this
is okay.
This is normal.
And it's not normal, guys. And as parents, I'm pleading with the parents. Don't be afraid to step to your team.
You have to be
you
involved.
You got
you
to.
guys, we have to go back to parenting.
Yes.
We want to be
Yes.
friends.
No.
We talk about you have to have boundaries.
Yes.
We need to teach them boundaries, but we need to know, we need to go back to parenting, and we need to be looking for stuff.
Yes.
There's no, the kids, they masters
Girl.
at hiding stuff,
Oh, yeah.
but some of them don't even have to hide nothing.
'Cause we never
you
look.
ain't checking for
We
it.
never look.
You ain't looking.
Nope.
You don't know where they are.
Yep.
You see the craziness going on, and you
And
ain't
you
doing
total-
nothing about it.
And the reason why I've seen a lot of parents not do anything about it, because they're like, oh, they're 16, I got 2 more years, and they'll be out of my house. Parents, that's selfish. You gave birth to that young lady or that young man. Like I said, your job as a parent is from utero to your death. That's when your job as a parent is complete. Yes, I have daughters well into their 20s. I'm still a parent, but a parent on a different level. I love my super chicks, but I'm not their friend. They know exactly how far to push, how far, and what to say. Even my 19-year-old, she's in college right now. We talk about stuff, and she tells me some stories, but she knows, like, oh, that's mama. But the stories, I appreciate you, little one. She tells me the stories, and I'm like, they're pearl gripping stories,
Right.
And she tells them like, it's just, it's every day, it's life, it's what we do, Mom. And I'm going, oh, Jesus, the blood, and I'm
Right.
praying. But you have to establish communication with your children. I told my oldest son, I said, son, if you start deviating from how I know you behave, and as you get older, I'm taking the door off of your room, and there is no privacy in my house. There is none. I go through your stuff. Yes, I do. I go
have
through
to.
your stuff. Backpack checks. Even like my little grandbaby, she was sneaking something to school one day, and I kid you not, the guy said, check the backpack. I said, okay, cool. I go in the backpack. I said, oh. And I start pulling stuff out. Random backpack checks. I do school drive-bys. And am I the best parent? No. But I let them go to school, and I wait a few hours. I do school drive-bys.
You gotta be involved, and you gotta be
got
checking.
to.
And a lot of parents, you use that they gone in a couple years because you really don't even know how to deal with it.
You don't, and you want
don't.
it off of your plate.
Yes,
and
'cause
so
it's too much
It is
for you to handle.
But when they're 19 and they're 20 and they acting like just wild buffoons out there, you're like, oh, society. No, society starts in your home. You're the society. You're the first society. You're the society that they meet first. So don't blame it on society. Oh, it's today. It's the videos. It's the this. It's the that. You are the society from birth. When that baby is in your stomach, you begin to be that society. I'm sorry to tell you, you're the family. You're the person that's going to sow the seeds into the family. And if we know in our family line that Papa was a booger or Granny was a booger, we need to start canceling that stuff right now. So when your baby comes out, it has a chance. Give your child a chance. Education is power. Educate your children before you release your children to the world, and then you'll have more heartaches than happy times.
Yes. And if you have modeled these bad behaviors for your children,
Yes.
and
Let's
the
go
Lord
ahead.
has brought you out of it, you've
Yep.
been delivered, the thing to do is to admit that it was
Yes.
wrong.
Yes.
Our parents, us as parents,
Yes.
the first thing we want, we don't never want to admit nothing.
nothing.
It just, it
No,
is
sorry,
what it is.
it happened.
But
No.
the one thing that I do, I think one of the good things I do as a parent is I say, you know what, I did that
Yep.
and that was wrong.
Yep.
This is what I knew to do at the time,
Yep.
or I chose to do wrong. Whatever it is,
Yes.
I own it,
Yes.
and I let them know what the right thing to do
That's it.
is.
I do.
And
I
so
do
we
too.
gotta
Yes.
teach them.
Yes.
You know what? Yes, this happened.
Yes.
My son seen this in my house.
Yes.
But I talked to them. Mom did this because of who Mom was
Yeah,
at that time. Mom was broken. Mom
Yes.
was this. Mom was that. But this is not the behavior
That's right.
that should happen. This is what should happen.
That's right.
And so we just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about
Yeah.
it. It's just like, well, they just need to know better.
No.
No, that seed has already been planted.
Yes.
So you have to do the steps to dig
Yes, you
that
do.
up
Yes, you do.
and replant some new
Yes.
seeds in them,
Yes. Not
so that way
cultivate.
this kind of stuff doesn't continue to
That's
happen.
right. And
And,
get
that's
help.
by letting them know that this is not okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not okay. Yes, this is the behavior I modeled. This is what I taught you was okay
Yes.
for me.
Right.
But this is the reason why I allowed this to happen, and it's not okay.
That's right.
This is what should happen.
Yes, that's right.
And when you see it happening in your home, because parents, you will see it.
Yes, you will.
Especially when
Something
you
to
know,
come out.
and it's little stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I get this a lot of times with moms with boys. They don't never want to check their son when they see their sons being disrespectful. I
Right.
don't play none of that.
Yes.
I will check you if you talking to them crazy. You know, sometimes I hear a tone that I don't like. I'd be like, hey.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
it.
I
Bring
don't
it down.
like that.
Bring
You
it
pull
down.
that in.
Yes.
You know, when they're talking to, their girlfriend
Right.
or something, pull
Right.
that in.
Yeah.
You have to remodel the right
That's
behavior
right.
for
That's
them.
right. And it's
you
never
have to-
too late.
Never.
Never too late.
Never. And if mama and daddy is checking them on it, they kind of
give you a
pull that
chance.
in.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we give them passes. Oh,
Yeah.
that's just my
that's
son,
just Bobo. That's just him. No.
that's with them
No.
girls is fast.
No.
Them girls is no. You
No.
have a responsibility
There you go.
to pull on them boys, to
Yes.
pull on them. I'm
Yes.
a mother of 4 sons,
Yes.
but I will pull on them. And if
Yes.
I don't feel like I can do it, then you go get
some help.
help
Yes.
from a man
Yes.
who can.
Yes.
But it has to stop with us, especially when we have modeled this
That's
for
right.
them.
That's right.
We have to. We come out, but we don't do no work.
We don't bring the family out.
No.
See, and that's the thing. We leave our family in. And just as mothers, both of us have been through domestic violence, we're wounded. So automatically, your seed is wounded. They're wounded, but see, we don't realize it. Oh, they were 5. They was only 5. There was only 2. Ooh, they didn't realize it. Ladies, when you are pregnant and you're going through domestic violence, your baby's going through domestic violence. I just want you to know that. Your baby's going through it. Your baby's being traumatized. Because every time your adrenaline goes up and you get into fight or flight mode, that baby gets into fight or fight mode. So we're sending those signals to our baby through our womb that this is what you feel that baby balling up. You feel that baby tensing up in your stomach because that baby's in fight or flight mode as well. Mm-hmm. So we have to dispel the myths of domestic violence. We have to cancel the assignment of domestic violence. We have to teach healthy, whole families. I know my book that I read that governs my life, and I got that part from Dr. Shiggs, says, "Will thou be made whole?" The answer is yes. For me, it's yes. Me and my generations is yes. For Michelle and her generations, yes. You can come back from domestic violence. Things can change.
It can change.
I was a victim, then I turned into the violator. If any man that came past my path 5 or 10 years after I was divorced, oh, you getting it. Mm-hmm. I'm unleashing this anger on you. I almost caused the man to commit suicide, and I'm not saying it boastfully, but I'm saying it because I was ignorant to what I was doing to somebody else. Do it to me, I'm going to do it to you.
Right. That's why you have to come out responsibly.
Yeah, responsibly.
Because we get out.
We
think because we're out. That is done.
No,
you
it's
have
not.
to do the work.
The work.
Like you said, yours
Yes.
came out violent.
Yes.
You lash back.
Yes.
But a lot of us, we just don't deal with it
Yeah.
and think our kids are going to grow up okay.
They don't.
Or, we continue to get into these kind of relationships.
Yes.
And then when they are the abuser, our teens are abused or are the abuser, we're stuck and we don't know how to deal with it.
And we
have to do the work.
We sit and we look like, oh my gosh, and then the fear comes back on the parent because they're watching their child execute what they've learned from the parent. We should not sit in fear, parents. If you see your daughter hurting someone or you see your son hurting someone, please step in. You got to step in. Michelle, I was driving to take my kids to school one day, and I saw this guy. I mean, he was so big. I looked, I said, oh, dude, kind of big, I like big men. I'm going to look. So, okay, I looked, I said, oh, he big. But what I did not realize when I first looked was he was shielding his children because the woman was at the top of the stairs. When I say she was throwing everything down on top of that man's head and on his back, but the kitchen sink, she was throwing shoes. I had to pull over, and I was like, my Lord. And I called the police. I called 911 because these kids are trying to go to school, and this big man is shielding his children from the violence from their mother. Mm-hmm. They had on their uniforms. He's standing and they're crying and screaming and holding on to daddy for dear life. And tears is rolling down his face. And I mean, this dude was at least 6'5", a good 250, 260. He was no punk by no seem to matter. But he didn't. He could have by any means ran back up them stairs.
Right.
And he could have handled her with her little do-rag on and her pajamas. He could have handled her. But he did not. He protected his children. And for that, sir, I applaud you, because he did not have to. He could have reacted.
He could have.
He, instead of going to action, he went into safety for his children. His son and his daughter was in fear of their mother, of what they was doing to their dad. Now the seeds that she sowed into those children.
You know, this is where you wind up getting it on the other half. When
Exactly.
you got the little girls who are raging and all wilding
I've
out,
seen
and
them.
they might not get, a protective.
Dad like
they
that.
might not come across that one that's going to cower and protect or turn their back.
Nope.
They might run up against the wrong one.
The
And
one
so you
that's
have
going
to
to
be-
click.
You have to be careful.
Yes.
But I know that we're almost at the end of time, so I just wanted people, our teens are in this, you guys.
Yes.
They are in this, and we got to help get them out. We got to help get them out. And so we have to, we want to help get them out. So the things that you need to do to help them get out is you got to keep you got to keep the doors of communication
Yes,
open.
very important.
Keep those doors of communication open,
Very.
because the one thing that will turn somebody away, especially kids,
Yes.
is when if they come to talk to you and they're getting abused by you.
Yes.
If you saying you stupid, why you staying in that? People don't do this intentionally.
No, they don't.
They don't, but
They
they don't
don't.
understand. If you're gonna abuse me when I come to you to help me, I might as well stay where I'm at.
That's right.
I gotta stay where
I
I'm
could
at.
survive better there than with you, because I'm looking at you. You're my mom, or you're my dad, or my granny, and you're supposed to love me.
Yes.
But yet you verbally and emotionally abuse me because you don't even understand what I'm going through. Today with that, we can go to the internet. We can go to a facility to get help. It's okay, especially in the black families. We were always taught not to go get help for nothing.
Everything stayed in the house.
Everything stayed in the house. Only thing we did was go get free stuff. I'm going to say it, y'all, because I'm part of that family, y'all. I watched them. Let's go get this free. Let's go get that free. Let's go get this. But we would not go and get help. Everything stayed at 942 East 90th Street. So there was our bubble of secrets and our things that we swept under the rug. And we went outside and we put that game face on. And Big Mama taught us, put your game face on. And we get it together. Don't you go outside this house and embarrass me. Mm-hmm. So even as we grew and got into these violent relationships, the first thing I thought, the first time I was hit was, oh my God, I'm embarrassed my mama.
You're embarrassed.
I thought about embarrassing her before me. I said, oh my God, okay, what's going to happen to her? I'm thinking about her, but I'm being drugged across the living room floor. Mm-hmm. And the thing she said, don't tell. Don't put it out there. Don't let nobody know what's going on. Let them know what's going on in the house. Because you got to tell. You got to get some help.
And if somebody is coming to you with this, please listen.
Yes.
They need somebody who's going to listen judgmentally, unjudgmentally.
Yes.
Because your response, because you love them, is to be like, girl, get out of that, or boy, get out of that. You want to jump into defense mode for them, but they just need somewhere to listen.
Yes.
You don't even know the strength it took for them to even come to you.
My
because
God.
trust me, if they come and told you, it's probably been happening for a
long time.
And most of the time, the first time they come is not the time that they're going to go.
That's right.
So if you're going to help them go, because people are like, how can I help them go? And I always hear people say, I try to help them and now I'm just done with them.
No.
Listen. No. Just be an unjudgmental place of safety.
That's right.
Because if they feel like they have this one unjudgmental place of safety, when their time to go and that opportunity presents itself, they can make that exit.
That's right. And they want to know that you're the person that they can trust with this thing that's going on. This is personal. Domestic violence is personal. Mm-hmm. So they want to know that you're the person that they can trust. So, and then this last thing before we go, y'all. I got an email earlier today that one young lady that was going through domestic violence, and I'm gonna tell y'all how real it is. In your exit, as we talk about trying to exit, be careful how you exit. Get a safe escape plan. You guys can email me, keepingitreal@gmail.com. I have an escape plan. I will email it to you back with no questions, no nothing. Just send it to you with the love of God and hope that it will help you escape. This young lady who I had been talking to was doing her own escape plan when her violator walked through the door. Now they're planning her funeral.
Wow.
Bottom line.
Wow.
And it's real, guys.
And it's real.
It's
It is so real. And that's why a lot of people who have been in it for a long time wind up dying because they don't feel as if they have anyone safe to go to. So you guys, those harsh words of "you stupid," if it was me, it's not you.
Oh, I hate that line.
It's
If
not
it was
you.
me.
It's not you.
Oh,
So please stop telling them if it was you,
me.
because it's not you.
it's not you.
Be there, listen,
Yes.
have your arms open, because when you say if it was me, that's another
And
judgment.
boop.
You're putting judgment on them.
Yeah.
Like they're not good enough.
Yeah.
If they was smarter, if they was this, if they
Yes.
were that,
Yes.
then they wouldn't be in this situation. So please stop saying that.
If it
That is
was
the
me.
worst thing you can say
Yes.
to somebody who is being abused.
And that's what you bringing them back to how the abuser mentally abuses them.
Yes.
Because you're bringing that feeling back. And I said before I even got into relationships when I was dating, and I've heard this, and I said, "Oh, girl, when I'm never gonna be in that situation." Never say never.
I was never the one who was going to be. I would have never been the one. I would have never been the one. If you look at all my friends and stuff, not
me.
I was not the
I'm
one.
with you, Michelle.
I was
me.
not the one.
Yes.
And I would say that kind of stuff. If it was me, I'll do this, I'll do that, until you are
You're
in it. But when you say that to them,
You shut
it
it down.
breaks them.
Yes, it does.
Because that says so much
Yes,
more
it
than
does.
if it was you. It was
Yeah.
saying you're
dumb.
You're dumb.
Yeah.
Why'd you get yourself in
Yeah.
this situation? You're not strong enough.
Yeah.
It says all this kind
Yes,
of
it
stuff to
does.
them. So that if you have one thing you do, be that safe
Yes.
listening
Yes.
ear.
Yes.
There's so
Please.
many more steps, but if you can only know this one today,
Please.
and continue to listen to Leisha, because she's going to continue to talk
will.
about it. But
I
if
will.
you have one step, be that place where they can talk to.
That
Be
place
that
of
safe
safety.
place.
Yes.
Be that
Yes.
unjudgmental ear.
Yes.
Because if they will continue to come to you.
They will.
If they know that they can.
They will.
And don't close those doors, because you closing those doors is boxing them in.
Yes. And then another thing too, if you're that ear, you work on the other end of finding out why this happens, how it happens, and how you can properly help. That's it. Don't go over being the vigilante, because in these situations, a lot of people get killed trying to assist the victim from leaving. So we want everybody in a safe place. If you're that listening ear and you're a praying woman of God, that's the first thing you do is pray. The second thing you do is find out how you can further assist them and have have resources for them
Yes.
when they come to you. And don't get upset, like Michelle says, if they go back. Because if I tell you how many times I went back, y'all wouldn't even believe it. I went back over and over and over again for the simple fact that I kept saying, I'm a sore loser. First of all, I'm going to tell you that. In any game, I'm a sore loser. So I kept saying, I got to win this game of love. To this day, I have not won the game of love, guys. Not won it at all. I'm waiting for it to come my way, but I've not won the game of love. So ladies and gentlemen, I tell you right now, you can't, this game, it's hard. It's hard to even try to break into it when it's a selfish, manipulating person that you're trying to love. They're not trying to love you back. Their mission is to kill, steal, and destroy. So that's the mission, that you want to stay away from those kind of people. So with that, you guys, I love you. You know I do. I posted the domestic violence hotline numbers online. Thank you, Ebony. Auntie loves you, Munchkin. And I posted the suicide number on my Facebook. Y'all, please, if y'all need to contact us, Michelle, you have contact information?
I do have a contact number. If you guys need any kind of visitation, supervised visits for monitoring or parenting classes, you can contact me at 987-9673.
Okay, and you guys know how to contact me, keeping it real with Leisha at gmail.com. And I can say for both of us, we will come to churches.
Yes.
We will come to churches. We will come to schools. We will come to community meetings. Wherever you need us, guys, we will come and we will educate you in domestic violence. We will educate you in parenting, how to get your children back from the court. Both of us are certified to do so. I'm not monitoring, not yet. I'm working on that. But to certified parent coach to get your kids back from the courts. We healthy families. That right there, guys. That's my heart's desire, and Michelle shares that desire with me. It's possible to have a healthy family. And with that, you guys, you have our information. We love you. God bless you. Have a wonderful day, guys.